The show is made possible in part by its supporting sponsors: Blue Water Power Group of Companies, Joe's Discount Tire, and AskGuy.ca. I never know who I'm going to meet when I'm out in the community, and recently came in the company of my next guest. Actually, we'd met before, I think briefly, but that was a while ago. Everything was pre-something, right?
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Karen Callies, thank you so much for joining me here
Thank
today.
you.
Appreciate it. And the last time I was here, we were discussing, an upcoming event that you're involved with, and we can get to that as well. But then, we kind of took a good hour and just talked about a whole lot of different things. And then I was like, we need to do an interview and just put that on the show. So thanks for your time here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Where are we? About Face and Body.
Yes. This business has been around for 36 years, and it's on London Road in Sarnia, and it's a full-service medical spa. I took it over about 5 years ago. Okay. And my background is in marketing and advertising, actually.
Oh, all right.
So I knew the previous owner, and I was looking for something different.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be a fun gig,
right.
And it's been fun.
Yeah.
But it's had
challenging.
Yeah, I mean, what business hasn't been through challenges during COVID, and just the times today.
Sure. So what year was that you made the purchase?
2018.
Yeah. So you were just kind of getting going, and then. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Yes.
Let's talk first about, you said you're from Leamington originally.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were raised there, or?
Yes, tomato capital of Canada.
Yeah, okay. Do you have anything to do with tomatoes?
No, I don't, actually, but I know lots of people that do.
Yeah,
and
right. It's a nice area.
It's a beautiful area to grow up. Sarnia reminds me a little bit of a bigger version of that.
In what way?
The community.
Yeah, okay.
And I really like the community here. I find people very friendly. They're willing to help. Yeah. Somebody knows somebody. So it gives you that comfort of, let's say, if you needed a favor, and then somebody says, well, my cousin Joe knows how to do that. They can fix your car or whatever. And it's just nice. It's just nice. I lived in bigger cities before, and I find sometimes the camaraderie just isn't the same. It's fun to live in a big city, but I do find...
maybe entertainment-wise.
Well, and when I was younger, it was just more jobs, more things to do. But at the stage of my life now, I enjoy living here. I really do like this area, and it's on the lake. It's beautiful here.
I have a friend of mine I refer to often, and he calls it, when he goes away, people say, where do you live? And he says, I live in the southwestern Ontario Riviera. Right? And
the banana belt.
Right, that's right. So my friend David Noel came up with that one.
Oh, yeah.
And there is lots around here. A great community, a feeling of belonging, I think, being a part of.
Yeah. And, like for example, we saw a lot of this during the pandemic, where you'd see on Facebook somebody was going through a difficult time. Maybe their business got broken into or whatever. People wanted to help. Yeah. And that is really something.
Yeah, I think any interview I've ever done with, even with the nonprofit sector or the charitable sector, it's always been brought up that Sarnia-Lambton really knows how to come together and support a cause.
Yes,
and
they do.
Get behind it, and kind of our personalities aside, so to speak, but it's still, when it needs to be done, it really comes together. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It has that, maybe a little bit of days gone by feel to it, which is sometimes comforting these days. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people I've noticed that are my age group miss sometimes the way things used to be. Not to sound old, but
no.
Just, life
Simpler
is very
times?
life is very fast paced today.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not always the best way to go.
Now, let's go. Text me.
And we're seeing the effects of that. A lot of people are suffering from mental health, and you know, and then the costs of everything have gotten so expensive. And then we're seeing, you know, homelessness that we never had growing up in Canada, really. That was rare. That was very rare.
Yeah. I've lived here all my life and never really, I didn't really see any homelessness. Or
No, neither did I.
And things that we see now are like in Sarnia, you know, right? So how is that affected you? You know, like you talk about mental health, and there's a conversation that comes up every day, which is good that it's coming up more and more every day, in a sense of we're talking about it, but we're seeing, how is all of that, seeing the homelessness and the mental health issues, how has that affected or impacted you just as a person who lives in this community?
Oh gosh, I've came across it quite a few times. You know, in a lot of different areas of the city, you'll see people that are struggling with homelessness, and you know, that's such a huge topic.
Yeah.
And it's not just always about drugs either.
No.
You know. Yes, it's impacted, I think, most people that live here now, you know, and if they think not in their backyard, it can happen in their backyard.
I was always interested a few years ago, I talked to a friend of mine in that mental health industry, opened my eyes to the homeless, because before it was there, but it was couch surfing, right? You didn't see it because it wasn't on the street, and that still happens. But now we're seeing it. It's very visible. I know my wife.
Very visible.
You know, when we drive in any part of the city, really, but you know, downtown in that area, you know, people living out of shopping carts. You're involved somewhat in trying to find a solution for this, I guess.
Well, my team that I work with for a fundraiser we do every year is actually going to focus on affordable housing for our next year's event. And there is a group through one of the Rotaries here that is spearheading this, and they've had some fundraisers already. So they've got some great ideas, great contacts, and we're going to try to, you know, come together and see what we can do. It's impressive what they've done.
Right.
Very impressive.
What are, in your mind, like, we're always looking for solutions to the problem, right?
Absolutely.
You and I had quite a good conversation about that the other day, and you know, everybody's got an idea on what should be done and how much money should be put into that, and then that affects taxes, and there's all these variables that go into it.
There is.
Where do you think we need to start? Where's the beginning of finding this solution?
Well,
right.
Yeah. I've just been doing some research, and what I've seen is basically it is considered a human right in our country.
Yeah.
And the lack of affordable housing is a problem and it starts at the top. And we need to have more affordable housing. And now, on the other hand, I do know that, and it's not just us, everywhere is experiencing this. So, you know, there has to be something. Like at first you have to educate people definitely on the problem, and then, you know, start chipping away at little solutions. You know, could we turn old office space maybe into apartments? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, because I know there definitely are some empty buildings laying around here. You know, could that be something? And I know a lot of people are working from home now. So you don't have the office space need that you once had, you know, 20 years ago. It's a start.
Yeah.
You know.
It comes down to money, though, really, doesn't it?
I mean, know it does.
Okay, I own an office building. Okay, but I'm not going to just give it up. I'm a businessman. I want to be paid for my space.
Yes.
And I want to be paid at market value.
Yep.
And the market value, is that the unfair part in this? Like market value, like... I see one-bedroom apartments going for $2,000 plus per month. Plus I don't see, like, I think minimum wage has always been behind.
Oh yes,
for years, even when it was $2 an hour. But now it's really caught up to, wow, we're in big, like, it's not keeping up anywhere near, right? And that, I think of my son who's 23 years old. Even if he was making $20 an hour, he's having a hard time finding a place to live. I know people who have their children living at home, grown children who are teachers, working for the railway, and are still living at home because
paying off student loans or whatever they're doing,
and they can't buy a house. And mom and dad don't have the money because I think some way back we kind of maybe waited for an inheritance to come along, and that helped us out. And that doesn't really exist anymore. Would you agree with these things?
Absolutely. I think we're going backwards in a lot of ways. In the old days, you had people that lived, with extended family, maybe came over here from Europe or wherever,
right.
And, got a house together and lived together and paid bills. And maybe we have to go back to that. I don't know. Is that the right thing to do?
And more people are coming to the country. So that's gonna.
And I understand. We need population growth because people aren't having the families they once were. I know several people who don't have children, and that's very common today. And one of the reasons is cost.
Right.
So how are we, sustaining our economy, jobs? Who's going to be taking care of us in the nursing home someday?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure there's Wi-Fi there. I need Wi-Fi when I get there, that's for sure. All right, well, that's, it's a start, right? And you say, when you say it needs to start at the top, what are you talking? Are you talking at the Prime Minister level or federal, or what do you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, but we can't blame the government for everything.
Right.
You can't. I mean, people have to take responsibility for their own selves as well, but yes, there are a lot of things that are falling through the cracks these days. And, we're seeing it with, like food banks, for example, too. They said years ago, you had family that would help you out if you, were short on money or whatever.
Yeah,
and now with families living further apart, that's why we have food banks. And most of those people that go to food banks have jobs.
Yeah,
it's not like they're not working.
I see people, or know of people who've shared with me that they used to donate to the food bank. Now they're going to the food bank, and they do have a job.
Oh,
both are mom and dad, in that situation are working.
Yeah.
And plus a part-time job, and there's no such thing as double income, no kids anymore. You can maybe not have the kids, but you having the double income, it's almost like triple income too. So the money factor's there. So that's kind of been a shift in who uses the services that are available. And there's lots of services available, but the more and more we use them, then the cost goes. It just seems like something's got to give.
I understand,
and it worries me though. What gives, and is it going to give and have a dangerous effect? Like, people are frustrated.
I know they are. I know people are very angry today.
Yeah. But
sometimes maybe we do have to sit back and think about the good things we do have living in Canada.
Oh.
No war here, right?
OHIP. People didn't even want OHIP when it first came in. And now you sneeze and you go to the doctor.
Well,
right?
The population is getting older too, right?
Right. Live longer, costs.
Costs
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I kind of go back to, and I keep thinking about the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things we said was the old JFK speech, ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country?
Yeah, that's very powerful.
And that's, and you sort of kind of led into that a little bit about, we have to step back and look at, okay, so what can we as individuals, what do you think we can do to help with the homeless situation or any frustrating current situation?
Well, first of all, I think it's good to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe find out why is there so much homeless today? And like I said, it's not always just about drugs. It really isn't.
Yeah. No.
There's many.
We seem to run to that one first, though, a lot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. People want to point fingers.
Thing, yeah.
Yes, people absolutely want to point fingers, and and I think many people who've been lucky in life maybe don't realize it could happen to so many people. Like I think there are many people out there that are maybe 2 paychecks away from having issues.
Right.
Maybe.
Too much month at the end of the money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've heard where, people are maybe supplementing their income with things maybe they shouldn't be supplementing their income with, credit card debt or whatever, or
29% I've seen on credit cards.
Or, playing the lottery, thinking they're going to, fix all their problems.
False hope, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not a good way to be either, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, well, I mean, can you get into, I don't know, smoking and all that other stuff too? Like, that's not is it an essential? And some would say, well, yeah, I need it because it relieves stress and all that stuff. So, but there's all these, there has to be something that we each as individuals can do to sacrifice or give up, if you will, or quit or change lifestyle. Is that? Do
you know what? That's a very good thought. Because I see this a lot today. Nobody wants to give up anything.
Well, that's kind of where I was alluding to.
I think our society today, people have been taught we can have it all. Maybe that's not the right way to think, though.
Well, I think you can have everything. I really do think you can have a lot of the things that you want, but it's the old saying of insanity. Do the same thing over and over and over, expecting things to change. That's not how it works. I believe anyway, and we have to change who we are as an individual, whether that's quitting smoking or drinking or instead of binge watching Netflix, we're going for walks. And those tiny little things. I read a book a long time. Those tiny little things that seem to make no difference, but the compounded effect of them over the long term will make a difference. You know, just spending, just smiling at each other when we walk past each other. I always laugh, when you're sitting at the corner and a car's turning like this, and you look at them, they look at you like, "What are you looking at?" Just smile.
Yeah.
I think that is that simple. And a friend of mine that I interviewed many years ago, Chris Molyneux, the saxophone sensation, those you watching would know, he did this one time. He said, "So many more people need to do this." And it sounds like a simple thing, but I think that kind of stuff is we need more of that.
That is
to make
true.
us go,
yeah.
And accountable to ourselves.
Yes.
And not just,
take responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Hard to do sometimes.
I'm certainly not perfect at it. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but the problem is it's easy not to do.
Yes, absolutely.
We get comfortable, right?
So, yeah. I think we've been spoiled too in Canada.
Yeah.
Like when I think about my grandparents coming over here from Europe, before the war, worked very hard. People learned that work ethic. And then, of course, every generation wants the next generation to have it easier than what they had.
Yeah.
And sometimes, is that always the best way to be? Do you know?
I want my children to have better, but not necessarily easier to achieve it.
Yeah.
There's got to be
exactly.
And it's not even just a work ethic. It's more of an expectation. And I don't know, I'm a pretty philosophical guy, as you learned the other day, but you decide your life, period. Nobody else does. Does the government have an effect on it in certain areas? Sure. But at the end of the day, you can pretty much go anywhere you want.
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I was reading the other day on good old Facebook.
Right.
Somebody put out this video regarding the 15-minute city. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, I don't recall the definition, but...
Well, they want it to be more like, we're so driving around in cars all over the place, and nothing's close by, and it just would make sense to have more communities closer.
Okay.
If you live in this area, maybe,
I see. Okay.
there could be a store here, other, a couple restaurants, whatever else you need, and have it close enough where you could either walk or ride your bike or whatever.
Right.
And it just saves on, saving the planet,
Right.
But I know there's people who thought it was a conspiracy theory and, again, it was about freedom. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, Sarnia is a 15-minute city. I always say you can get anywhere in Sarnia at the busiest time of the day, hitting every red light. You can still get there in 12 minutes.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. For sure. And that's why you see a lot of people from Toronto area moving here, right?
Yeah.
The cost of living, the time.
Right.
Pardon me?
Yeah, no, right. Like the cost of living, like a house here is way, forget it in Toronto. Right?
Oh, unbelievable.
And but then the biggest problem in all of this maybe is, the personalities. We've all got a different personality. We've all got a different way of thinking. We agree on some things, but not on everything. And I guess maybe we got to try to find this common ground somehow, right? So.
Yes. And I worry about, with the use of AI bots these days, there's a lot of misinformation going on out there. So how do you get people to, kind of come together? Maybe they don't have to agree on everything, but just at least sort of understand where the other person is coming from. Have that empathy, of some sort. Why do you think this way about something and this person thinks that way about something? At least having like a nice conversation. You don't have to be yelling at each other.
Right.
Let's just agree to disagree, but I want to hear your side of the story.
Kind of like what we did a couple of weeks ago. We did not agree on everything.
No, nobody's going to agree on everything.
We were very like, wow. And I left here the other day going, I had to go take the long way home because I was thinking, and I went and parked down by the water, and I was like, boy, she said this, and I never really thought of it that way. And that made sense to me because I had never heard it that way. So, I mean, are we too close-minded these days?
Well, I think we're very much, we get thoughts put into our head by different things. But I just, what's funny, Dave? The other day I called my parents and my dad picked up the phone, and my dad's 82.
Okay.
And, it's 8 a.m. in the morning. And right away he starts talking about climate change.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where I get it from, right?
Right.
And we had a great conversation,
Does he still
actually.
read the Farmer's Almanac? Right. Many do.
But just, it's just interesting. He's worried about where he lives, actually in Kingsville. Okay. They've had so many power outages this year that he's thinking about buying this generator because, my parents are elderly now, and if the power goes out and it's 100 degrees outside, Fahrenheit, they don't want to be dying inside, right?
No.
So he's thinking about getting this generator, and he just said, I anticipate more of this happening, of what's happening this year. I think it was a real wake-up call for a lot of people, all these fires. And, and I mean, even if you don't believe that this is really happening, think about when we were in lockdown.
Right.
And somebody, it was either on the news or it was out there on the internet anyways, about, look how clear the sky was, when planes weren't going around, and cars weren't driving all over the place. And so there's your answer, right? Like, I guess, and you've got, a country like China, 1 point, how many billion people, and 40 years ago, hardly any of them had cars.
Yeah.
Well, now, so many of them have cars. And guess what's happened?
Yeah.
you know.
Everything we do adds to it, right?
But their country's right on board with trying to, you know, make some changes with climate change. So, you know.
Well, speaking of that, you know, different fuels, right? You know, like going from different ways of different types of energy.
Yes.
And somebody made a comment the other day to me that, you know, I like that we're making that change, but we're doing it too darn quick. Do we? Would you agree with that, or do we need to do it quickly, or like, because the quicker you do it, it costs more money, right? Where we gradually get there.
Baby steps.
Yeah,
We could do baby steps, but again, I think we have to be mindful. Just be mindful. Do you have to, you know, take road trips all the time? I hate road trips.
Yeah.
I'm not a road trip person. No, I'd rather take the train.
I like my motorcycle. I hop on. I want to go for.
But it really doesn't.
That's entertainment to me.
Yeah,
right?
it really doesn't have the emissions that a car would have either. Right. So, you know, it's not that bad. But, you know, I think our standard of living maybe, has it gotten too high? You know, do we need 3-car garages? Do we need,
it's definitely,
5 TVs in our house?
Yeah. I always say to my son, I was like, okay, is this a need or a want?
Yes.
Oh, it's a want. No, I want that, and for sure. So now you're asking people, now you've got to change the habits of people. And we know how hard it is to change the habit of anything. What is it, 21 days it takes to change a habit, all that sort of stuff. So, okay, we'll come back to some more of this. Let's shift gears a little bit. You're a very, very intelligent person. You're very.
Thank you.
You can tell that you've done your due diligence on topics and things.
I enjoy reading.
Yeah. Where did your education come from? Let's talk about school. Like, you were raised in Leamington. Public school there? That area? I
did. Truth be told, I did go to a couple of private schools as well.
Okay, all right, yeah.
You know, my family isn't super religious, but they did want us to go to some religious schools because of the way things were done. And I did go to university and college.
Right.
But a lot of times people go to school for a certain thing and they don't end up really, I have a degree in communications and I'm working at About Face now. So, whatever.
You communicate well.
Well, thank you. But I sometimes university to me is more of an experience.
Yeah,
it's nice to be a well-rounded person and go for the experience. Like, I think it's great for kids to go away from home, learn how to, be in the real world.
Right, self-sustain and all that.
Yeah, meet some new people. I just thought that was wonderful. I'm very thankful to have that experience, actually. I met some wonderful people and had some great, educators and that sort of thing. So
you enjoyed that?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah.
That was one of the best periods of my life, I have to say.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. For sure.
Now, you were, if I get this right, you're dual citizenship. So you were living in the States for a while?
Yes, I was.
How did that, what took you there and how did that work?
I was married to an American years ago, and I lived over there back in from 1989 to 2001. I moved back. I actually moved back coincidentally right before 9/11.
Oh,
so
wow.
when 9/11 happened, it was like, oh my God, I'm so thankful I live here.
Right.
Because it was a very spooky time over in the U.S. and fast forward to today. Not to get political, but I'm glad I live here.
Right, I was going to ask you the questions. Would you be okay living there now?
Well, it's gotten just so
very divided.
Yeah.
Like
I feel bad for them.
Not just 50-50 either. Like, so many different.
And again, they're angry. They're just angry people, and not everybody is, but
no. We're generalizing, but I get what you're saying.
It's a funny country now. It's so different from when I lived there. I lived there in the Clinton era,
Right.
Totally different now.
Yeah, totally, for sure.
Yeah, but...
So then you came back here, and when you came back here, what was the plan?
Well, I wanted to find a job in Toronto. That just seemed like a good place to be at the time. I was 35 and thought it would be fun to live up there for a while. And it was okay. I have relatives up there, and I thought that would be nice. But it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be at that age. So I decided to move back to the Windsor area, and I lived there for quite a few years before moving here.
Right. What did you do there?
I was in marketing and advertising, and really enjoyed it. Met lots of great people.
You were selling advertising, or
yes, I was. What were you? Yes, print, and I did some TV advertising for a while as well. I worked for Rogers Media, and met some really, really good people. Unfortunately, I was there in the time frame of the 2008 economic downturn.
Right.
Windsor got hit really bad.
Yes.
Really bad.
Yes, I remember
so it was not a pretty time, not at all. But, today, I think the city's doing very well.
It's come back for sure a lot. I mean, there's still some spots, but everybody I know in Windsor, I've got a lot of friends down there, and some politicians that I know that way, and a mix of whatever. And the common denominator is they feel confident in the growth.
Yeah. I mean, and out in the county area, there's several wineries now.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous place to go visit for a weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
Wonderful restaurants.
Go to Spago.
Oh yeah, Spago is very good.
We went there for the first time on Erie Street, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes,
and
love that
we
area.
actually met the owner's mother. She was there, and
really,
so great place down there.
Do you know his son? The owner's son used to play for the Sting.
Really, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
he did.
Well, I'm
yes,
gonna have to check into that.
Yeah, because one time I was down there for lunch with my mom. I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and he said that I used to know him years ago.
Yeah.
And he said his son was playing for the Sting at the time, and I said, I didn't know that.
What was his name? Do you know? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, I can't remember right now.
I'll have to
sorry.
investigate and find out. My counterparts will know.
It was an
sure.
Italian name.
Yeah.
I know that.
Well, we'll narrow that down. That's good. That's good. Are you a hockey fan at all? Do you like sports at all, or are you just like whatever?
Well, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, my husband's really into it.
Okay,
so if he'll have the TV on, I'll sit and watch. And I didn't grow up watching sports. So it's kind of a forced thing, but I've gotten to like it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do.
What's your husband do?
He used to work for Asante
okay.
Financial Planning, and he retired a few years ago.
Nice.
And so he helps me with a few things here with the business, and plays golf and stuff like that too.
Right, so he's retired.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Unless you say, honey, I need that.
He's good to help. He's very good to help.
Well,
yes.
Let's talk about your business, about Face and Body. I mean, just before we turned the camera on, you were talking about something that kind of disturbed you a little bit. Share what that is about what was it, SEBA?
So the SEBA loans, that's what we called them, that were given out during COVID. Many small business owners were trying to get that extended until maybe a year or two down the road to pay it off, where you got a bit of the money was forgiven.
Right.
And the government the other day said they're extending it for 18 days.
Wow.
So that really is not much help for many businesses.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate.
So did you take part in that then?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
I think most people did, because we were shut down for quite a few months.
Yeah. Well, especially in what you do, very in close contact with people. So
absolutely.
There were a lot of regulations plus for your type of business,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So you survived obviously through it. Was it because of that loan, or obviously that had some assistance there, but what else was it that got
me through?
Your business through?
I worked with a business coach. And she was wonderful and helped me through a lot. Okay. And she said, Karen, you've got to go into your business every day and work the business.
Right.
Pretend it's going. And so she said, you get on that phone, start calling people, and just keep in touch. I was allowed to sell products.
Right.
And so I did a lot of curbside and delivery at that time. And then, we talked about when we would reopen and what we were going to do. Keeping
the relationships going.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes. And fortunately for me, we've got some pretty good loyal customers here who have been around for years. Like, I'm the third owner here.
Right, okay.
So I've got some clients who've been going here for, 30 years.
Wow.
So
great.
I'm very thankful for that. But I let my clients know that too. I don't take them for granted. I am very thankful that they have stood by us, and we try to do the best we can for all of our clients. And but yeah, I certainly came in here and we did some painting. There were always things to work on.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yep.
Work on your marketing plan.
Yep.
That sort of thing. A
lot of adapting.
Yeah, but also during that time, I'm sure like other people, we cut our costs down big time.
Yeah.
So you had to cut certain things, and but there were certain things you still had to pay, and it's a real learning curve. It was a real learning curve.
How many employees do you have here?
Okay, so I have 5, and then we have a doctor and a nurse that come in from time to time as well.
Okay.
So it's a great team that we have here. I enjoy it. We try to make it fun.
Yeah.
It's.
I can tell you that, the first time I came in here, I didn't really know what to expect, right? I mean, and it was very welcoming.
Oh, good.
Walking
Thank you.
in the long hallway that's there, but as soon as I got in that, there was somebody right at the front. It was like, oh, are you looking for Karen, or who are you here for? And then the lady, the receptionist, I guess, very friendly. Pardon me. Quick break.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I get that tickle.
Yeah.
Very welcoming, and I would imagine that's an important part of your business. I mean, any business, but you're really getting up close and personal with people, like a hairdresser would. You're in their space.
Yep.
That's a different kind of relationship.
Yes, it is. Yes. Again, I think it's a privilege to have people trust you enough to maybe if they're going through a tough time in their life, that they will kind of share. Sure. And
you're the psychologist too, are you, a little bit?
Do you know what? We enjoy that.
Yeah.
We enjoy that. Truly. It is like I said, that is a privilege. Yeah. And we're very discreet. We know what happens in here.
Confidentiality, right?
It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, it doesn't. But I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yes.
Sure, that's an important part of
the
the
especially with Sarnia being, a smaller city.
Yeah.
If you ever said anything, that it would get around. So we know enough. You keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. They
absolutely.
Had the privilege to have shared that information with you.
Absolutely. So many people. It's amazing. Like when I moved here, I couldn't get over how, somebody, you'd say, do you know this person? Or, oh yeah, that's my sister-in-law or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Don't say a bad thing about anybody, because even sitting in the restaurant, you never know who's sitting behind you in the booth, and they're not saying anything. Oh, you're talking about my brother-in-law.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you don't want to. Let's go back to the SEBA for a minute there too, because I know you started to talk about that. So 18 days extension. So how is this going to affect you, and of course so many other businesses? Like, how are you going to deal with this 18-day extension?
Well, to be truthful, I did put some money aside from the loan. So I do have some money saved for that.
Right.
But I will have to tap into some other stuff to, I mean, I think most people have had to, so, you kind of got to shift a little bit, maybe what I was thinking of spending some money on in the next year. I may have to postpone that a little bit,
right.
you know, because there were some things I wanted to
adjust the plan again, right?
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, of course, you knew you were going to have to pay some of this back at some
absolutely.
point. So,
I've already
enough,
been paying it back.
Yeah,
I've already been paying it back. But even my accountant said, you know, you might want to wait, you know, and just see what that extension is going to be like. So I paused it a couple months ago, you know, kind of wondering what was going to happen. And anyways.
And then the bank calls and says, well, we're happy to loan you money to pay off that loan.
Yes. Do you know that I got an email the other day, the same day that announcement was made, and I thought, wow, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Right. How'd they know? Somebody knew something was coming, right?
Yes,
Inside
absolutely.
Or something? Yeah. Who knows?
Oh, absolutely.
Or they were just ready to press the go button. That's hard to say, but because they knew, like I would imagine they probably knew that some businesses are still going to need help paying that back because it wasn't enough or whatever.
For sure.
So, but yes, very interesting that the same day. Okay, press the button.
They're no dummies. They are no dummies. So yeah, you kind of, you know. But I don't want to be stuck in that, you know, woe is me thing at all.
No. You know, I don't think you sound like that.
I want to move forward. Let's just move on. Get it over with.
Well, business is, there's always decisions being made, and you know, you have to, you know, I say the roadmap to success, and once in a while you hit a detour sign. You got to figure a different way around to get to the same destination, and all these things come along. But you're an example though of what we were talking about earlier about we got to step back and take responsibility for it. Like you can sit around all day and say, okay, the government did this, or he did this, or she said that, and all. Blah, blah, blah,
where does that get you? Nowhere.
Right where you're sitting.
Exactly.
It doesn't get you going any forward.
Yeah, and that headspace too wears you down. You know, if you're in a negative headspace, it's just that downward spiral, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so many people today. This is what I do like. Here's one of the good things about the era we live in today. People are more enlightened today, even though they may not seem like it. They are more enlightened about. You know, when they wake up in the morning, I know several people that do this. They wake up in the morning, they have their cup of coffee, and maybe they meditate or they watch a video on positive things. And it just gets their day kind of, because there's so much out there today, Dave, that's so negative.
I know.
And oh my God, how do we shut it off? How do we shut that off?
Well, you just do. Like, and I know that sounds simple, but like water tap. You know?
But some people can't shut it off, right?
It's like, no, but I'm not around. I don't do drama, you know, like, and I've had people say to me like, one friend of mine in particular, I'm off Facebook, I'm done with Facebook, it's too negative. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. First of all, there's an algorithm that puts things in front of you to see, and that is based on, for the most part, what you click on, what you like.
That is so true, eh?
What you put an angry face on and all that stuff. And I said to my friend, I said, go look at my Facebook. Because you won't see anything negative there. Once in a while, somebody might make a comment and I go like, hey, come on, you know. But I private message them. I don't publicly say, cut it out. And if Facebook gets a bad rap because, that Facebook's trouble. It's not Facebook that's the problem. Facebook is like what we've always been, sitting in a coffee shop, in a bar, over dinner, and we're gossiping and we're talking about, well, I heard, and I heard, or I read, and all this stuff is still there. But it's like you said, it's more quick. But you go to my Facebook, I don't see any negative. And negative stuff does not pop on my Facebook. Why is that? Because the algorithm recognizes he doesn't want to see that. If you can take that and put it into human world, you know, you've heard it before, you know, who you surround yourself with.
That's right. 5
closest people, you're a piece of the pie of that. Where you go, where you hang out. Like if you want to quit smoking, you don't hang around people that smoke. That's nothing against them personally. It's just, it affects me. All that stuff. So, people making choices on what they bring into their life. And I don't know about you, but the older I get, the easier it is to do.
Yes, I agree with that.
I see an inkling of it all. I might say to you, if we've been friends for a while, I was like, hey, like, but then I walk away and I don't know, we don't hang out anymore. I guess.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Your tolerance level for that type of behavior goes down, I think, the older you get. I know myself, I feel the same way. Yeah. I don't have time for that.
And that's some people find that they say that sounds arrogant. Oh, we're not going to hang around that person because they smoke. No, it's. I'll certainly still talk to you and say hi. Yeah. But and I'm the ex-smoker of 9 years. Mm-hmm. And
good for you.
I still thank you. I give my friends who I love and care about a hard time that still smoke, and they tell me to go away.
Nicely.
Well, I don't know about that, but is that can we take what we're talking about right now and put that back into some other situations, ground roots like homelessness and governments and I mean, pick a topic. Really, doesn't it all really start with how we think about things?
Absolutely. Yeah. For sure it would.
Philosophy, right?
Yeah, for sure. And some of it is it nurture versus nature?
Right.
Yeah. I always love those stories about, when you hear about, let's say, kids that were adopted into different families and then maybe they meet each other later in life, siblings, and then, they have so much in common. That's amazing to me.
Right.
That is, where they like the same things, and that's very interesting. But yeah, it definitely, and maybe the problem is, people aren't sitting down together much as a family anymore. I had a conversation the other day with this person who, younger gal that had younger kids still, and she told me that she's got, kids in all these different sports teams, and that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Sports is good.
It is good. But, I think they felt stressed about time management, right? They're both working. Yeah, the parents are both working.
Get the kid to this one and then get home and then, we got to eat, so it's McDonald's instead.
And nowadays, I just think there's more pressure on kids, I know, I didn't play a lot of sports when I was younger, but my husband did. And he said, years ago, there wasn't the pressure like there is today.
Right.
Where, you're going to hockey 3 times a week. And then every other weekend, you're on the road to Timbuktu, and then you got to pay for hotel rooms and all this other stuff. That's a lot of pressure on families.
That's a lot of money.
Yes. And if you have 3 kids.
I know some friends who are hockey parents and they're like,
yeah, that is a lot of pressure. And, I don't know what the answer is because I know a lot of kids love playing sports. But, could we just maybe dial it down a notch? Would it be okay?
Well, I guess it depends where you want to go. I mean, if you want to go to a professional level, then that's a different story.
I understand. I'm just saying, could the teams, does it have to be that? It's almost like they're professional.
Yeah.
And
Sunday dinner.
Exactly.
It's not always Sunday for Jennifer. My wife is very good at saying to me and Jason, "Hey guys, what day of the week are we sitting down? Because we have not sat down at the table and had dinner." Sometimes we and that happens. It's okay. And there are a lot of times we sit in the living room with our TV table and we're going, "Why are we in here? We need to be in there." And it comes from a Dutch family, so raised that way. And so. That kind of goes back to some of the other stuff we talked about, right? Like our way of thinking and smiling at each other rather than grinning, like, what are you looking at? I can't imagine living like that, right? So what's next for Karen Callies? What do you, I mean, I know you've got the event coming up, but is there anything else you're advocating for? And how are we doing in this community?
Do you know what? I always get involved in some different things, whether it's a small event or large event. I have a gal, actually, Leanne Fair is going to come to my open house in the fall and advocate for mental health.
Nice.
And I've known her for many years, lovely woman. It just gets the message out. And I said, you know, like I think practically everybody these days has somebody they know or in their family that has a mental 100%. Health issue. Yeah. So, you know, it's just nice to, you know, I'm very, very community minded because that's who's supporting us.
Yep.
So to me, it would be hypocritical if I didn't support the community.
That's great. You're making that a part of your open house. That's what a neat idea to mesh your business in with that. Because it really speaks to your I guess your persona of your business.
That was one of the things that I definitely made a, you know, kind of, you know, one of my goals, so to speak, when I did buy this business is, you know, I had in the back of my head, think about the community, you know, it was always there, and how can you help? And because people have been very helpful in so many different ways. And I do believe in what you give out comes back. And not to quote the Kennedys again, but, but I love this quote that Rose Kennedy said once, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah.
I just, that says so much. And, you know, there's so many people out there that are very giving, and kudos to them.
Yeah.
You know, it does come back. It really does.
Takes time sometimes, but it does.
People remember, you know.
Yeah, I think so.
One time I got a scratch on my car. I'll share a quick story with you.
No.
I got a scratch on my car during COVID, and I thought, geez, what am I going to do? So I went down to this place, a small shop in town here, and the guy said, you know, I really don't do these anymore, but I'm going to do it for you. And you know, touched it up. I think I had to come back for it. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
And he said, it's on the house today. And
right.
I was like, come on, really?
Let
and
me
he's
give
like,
you
nope. It's on the house today. And I was like, wow, thank you so much. So down the road, somebody hit my car in the parking lot here one day. And I decided to go back there. And I said, hi, I'm back. And I said, I'm giving you business now because you were good to me. And so I decided to come back. And he's like, wow, you remembered. And I was like, yes, of course I do.
It's that tiny little thing, right?
Yeah.
Like complimenting somebody too, you know?
Yes. And I'm always amazed when people don't understand that. You know, I am kind of amazed. Like if you're, you know, giving somebody something, and if they don't really either appreciate or reciprocate, you know, even if it's like just even, you know, something little, whatever it is.
So you're a pay it forward kind of gal then, are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the way I was brought up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way, you know, it should be, but not everybody's like that.
No,
you know,
no.
Whatever.
Are we going to be okay? Is this world of ours that we're living in right now, like, are we going to be okay?
There's positiveness out there.
Right?
I think there's positive.
There's lots of it.
Yeah, there's lots of it. You got to look on the bright side. Like I said, there's so much negativity today. You got to sift through the, you know.
We need that Monty Python song.
There you
Always
go.
look on the bright side of life, right? Yeah.
That's right.
But that's the challenge, I think, for
it is a challenge.
for most of us, right? Like, you know, it's easier to go, because positivity requires more thought, I think, right? You know.
Yes, but somebody, you know, said, you know, the amount of work it takes to be nice to somebody, you know, it takes more work to be nasty with them, right? Like, I'm not quoting it verbatim,
no,
but
you really you got to put effort into that. That's so and so.
Well, and
because you got to keep it going.
Well, and if anybody believes in karma too, you know, I don't know. I think it does exist.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's amazing. I'm wondering about some things that are happening in the world right now that you kind of go, is there karma to this, or is there not?
Who knows?
You know. Mm-hmm.
On the local level, I mean, we were talking a little bit of politics. How are we doing there?
Well, I think, you know, as good as can be expected right now. Again, there's always good and bad. And I always think there's room for change, definitely. You know, I do. We
see some new faces on our local council.
Absolutely.
That's always good.
Yeah, it is very good. It's good to get some new thoughts, ideas. You know, people have to be open to new ideas, definitely, you know, and keep the negativity at bay, you know, definitely. Keep the negativity. Let's try to focus on positive things.
There's a world that it's hard to do.
I know. Because but Sarnia definitely is a nice place to live.
Yeah. What are you, so when you're not working here and making things work and dealing with, and I say dealing with staff, and I mean like in a nice way, you're interacting with staff. What are you doing outside of here? What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love cooking. I used to have a catering business years and years ago.
Really?
So I do love to cook. I'm in a gourmet group that meets kind of once a month.
Okay.
And then we like to have different wines that we pair with the stuff.
I was going to say, so you're a wine person too.
Yep, love all that. And I try to keep active. I like golf and tennis and swimming, and, you know, not to say I'm doing a lot of that, but, you know, on my downtime when I have spare time.
Right.
But yeah, it's all good. You know, again, there's some great places to go to around here.
And family keeps you busy too?
I have elderly parents, so yes. They don't live in town, so yes, it does take time to, you know, check in with them and go down and visit, or they come up here once in a while. And and yes, we have children. I have stepchildren that live out of town, and grandkids as well that we go visit. And very nice. I enjoy that. And unfortunately, no, we don't have any family that live in town. But, you know, that's the way it goes.
But then it's nice to get you out of town once in a while. As nice as it is here, it's still nice to get out of town.
Yes, it is.
Change the scenery a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything we've missed here that you want to share?
Oh boy.
She's like, how much time have we got? Right? I think this has been, that being said, I mean, I know there's lots you would love to talk about, and we'll just have to do it again.
Sure.
But I thank you. I'm so glad that you had reached out for the event that we're talking about, and then here's the karma with us. I think we had that conversation, and now here we are sitting down and getting to know a little more about Karen Callies.
Well, thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining me here. And
appreciate it.
here. And we'll stay in touch for sure. And if you want to know more about Karen, can they find you on Facebook or where?
Yes, I'm on Facebook, and we're under Instagram under About Face.
Yep.
Message anytime if you ever have any questions about anything, for sure.
It's a great facility here as well. So we'll put the address and everything about Karen that you can reach out to her in the comments below. And you know what I'm going to do, because I do it every time. I say click the like, click the love. But the most important button you can click is the share button, so we can share Karen's story and of all the other people that I interview here in our great community. But that's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here in the show. Bye for now.